Many times people ask me, they say, what is my writing process? Often I start by telling you what is not my process. I don't have a special chair, a special room, a special desk, special music, special incense, a special place in town. I write wherever I am, and I write whenever I wake up in the morning. I had too much to drink last night. I may not get up until 11 o'clock and write. But usually I wake up about 5 or 6 and I write for 3 hours almost every day. My goal has always been to write 1,000 words. Not 1,000 perfect words, just 1,000 words. I do that on, let's say, Monday. I wake up, 6 o'clock, write 3 hours, 1,000 words. Next day, I wake up at 5 o'clock. I start writing. The first thing I do is reread that 1,000 words I wrote yesterday, make very small editing on that, and then I write my next 1,000 words. And that goes on and on and on and on until I get to the end of the novel. When I tell you that you should write every day, I'm speaking to exactly 99% of you. Most people get the best work out of getting up every day and writing for 3 hours. And when I say get up, a lot of people write in the middle of the night. Okay, fine. If that's the best time you write, that's what you should be writing. You will find if you write every day that the next day ideas have bubbled up from someplace that you had no idea were there. Ideas about, oh, yeah, that reminds me of my mother. Oh, no, a black bird will be sitting in the window. Oh, I think that after this, they're going to go somewhere else. The ideas that start bubbling up are from these unconscious places. You've written for 3 hours, and then for the next 21 hours, your unconscious is working, saying, what was that about? What was that about? And they reach into different parts of yourself and bring out all of these new ideas. After 100 days, when you go back and reread what you've written, which is the first rewrite, you'll say, hey, I've been mentioning that black bird all through here. I wonder what that means. Or, I've been repeating this word so many times, I better get rid of that. But what you're doing is you're discovering yourself. You're discovering yourself as the storyteller as you're writing the novel. And that's the unconscious element of the work. If you stick to my schedule of writing for 2 to 3 hours every day, you will have a completed novel in a year's time. You'll write and write and write and finish a draft. Maybe it's 3 months, maybe it's 4 months. Then you'll start going over it and over it and over it. Every time you go over it, it's a draft, even if you only change one word. Then you'll maybe have a friend read it or somebody else read it. Maybe you'll read it out loud into a tape recorder. Maybe you'll do a public reading, where people, do these things in coffee houses or something. But by the end of that time, you will have a decent draft of a short novel, 60, 70,000 words. If you've gotten up in the morning and you're sitting down in front of a piece of paper, in front of a screen, you start writing, and nothing comes, and nothing comes, and nothing comes, and you look at the clock, and it's been 1 hour and 27 minutes, and nothing has come yet, the answer is to push through that. The best way to push through that, the most satisfying ways, is to start writing words. And really, any words. Just start saying, I hate monkeys. I like the zoo. I hate pizza, but I love, Italy. Whatever you're going to start saying. And hopefully that's going to lead you to your character. And don't ever be upset with yourself as long as you took the 3 hours to write. It's very true in the modern world and in education. People want methods beyond our own humanity to do things. How do I do this even though I can't do this? And the answer is will. You just will yourself to do it. Now, I feel I'm making it pretty easy. 2-3 hours every morning. So, okay, that might be really torturous. You sit there for 2 or 3 hours and nothing is coming for 10 days, for 20 days. But it's going to come ultimately. I promise you, it's going to come ultimately. But it's going to feel bad. And the only way to continue is to have the will to say, okay, I know this is going to work because I know there's a novel in me. I just have to work at it every day. Enough days of maybe writing gibberish will slowly turn into something. And you'll be amazed. Wow. So this is what my character thinks. He thinks all these crazy things. Well, how do I start to put them together? That's on Thursday and Friday and Saturday and next Saturday. It will hurt sometime. It will feel like you're not getting anywhere. It will feel like you're failing. But that's okay. Such a large part of art is failure that it's just another day. Many people, maybe you, are frightened by the blank page. How do I start? The reason you do this is because you've read some great novel, The Idiot by Dostoevsky, Dead Souls by Gogol, David Copperfield. And it starts so beautifully. And here you are at the blank page, and there's no beauty, there's no sentence, there's no structure like you've read in these great novels. Of course, the mistake you're making is these great novels were draft after draft after draft, written by novelists who had written for so long that they knew all kinds of things about writing before they sat down to this blank page. Their first draft didn't sound like that. Their first draft didn't work like that. And that's what's great. The blank page invites anybody. Come to me, start writing. Say whatever you want. Doesn't matter. Start writing. And then you just start writing. Maybe you write a sentence. I want to tell a story about a guy named Bob. Bob was a nice guy until he killed Joe Smith. That might be the story you want to tell. You don't like it. That sentence doesn't work well, but you just keep writing and writing and writing. You get to your 1,000 words, you leave it alone, and the next day you get up and you look at it again, you say, okay, here's what I really wanted to say. Maybe. And so you start again. There's a second blank page, but it's still a blank page. The idea is that the blank page makes no judgment on you, and nobody's going to read it but you. It's there in front of you. And do not be weighed down by a novel like War and Peace that had 100 drafts, because you're just writing the first step of the first draft. You don't have to worry about anything. The concept of rewriting is worth spending some time on. I don't even think about writing. There's pre-writing and there's rewriting. The pre-writing is the first draft of your novel. The rewriting is going over that novel and saying, okay, this is working. I'm saying all these amazing things that I didn't really know were there. I'm wasting a lot of time saying this other stuff. And you're restructuring. Every time you go through that novel, you might read through the whole 500-page novel and only change one word. Well, that's a new draft of that novel. That's rewriting. Sitting in front of the blank page, trying to understand what your character is going to say, that's writing. You may not write much. You may not write anything. But, that's the process. You might have gotten to a certain place, let's say, in your painting. I'll talk about another medium. And it's almost perfect, but it's not exactly what you're trying to say. You might have to look at that painting for like weeks. What is this? How does this? I wrote a book called John Woman. It took me 20 years to finish that book. And sometimes I would just sit, I'd read, everything that I'd written, and I go, yeah, it's all right, but it's not the book I want. And I go, why not? And I would, and I kept coming back to it, and one day I figured it out. It's just that you need to have faith in your mind. I don't want to say heart here, because the heart is wanting to write now, but the mind is saying, this is not working, this is not working, this is, oh, wait a second, what if, and then maybe it starts working. A novel is not a project that you're doing on a drafting table in the garage. A novel is a living being that you're creating out of your soul. It may not be a perfect creature. It may have some, flaws and deficits. It may not, in the end, work well enough to get published. But you have to finish your novel in order to know what's right and wrong with you writing the novel. And when you come to the end of that year, you may decide at that point, I'm going to write another novel. Or you may spend the next year rewriting this one to make it work. But you will finish it. I've been asked many times by many beginning writers, but also more experienced writers, to say, well, how do you know when you're finished with the novel? I said, well, I write the first draft, and then the second, then the third, then the fourth, then the 10th, then the 20th, then I read it out loud into a tape recorder, and then the 21st and 22nd, and finally, I every time I've read it, I've seen what's wrong, and I fixed that thing. I've seen what's wrong, and I fixed that thing. I've seen what's wrong. But finally, in my last draft, I read the novel, I see what's wrong, I have no idea how to fix it, so the novel's finished. I have written very many books. I think it is 60 that I've published. I love writing. I get up every day and I start writing. I start telling stories. I start trying to understand and describe and to plumb the depths. The reason I tell people that they should write every day is the same reason that Sigmund Freud told people that they should be in psychoanalysis 5 to 7 days a week. Go see your therapist, lie on the couch, free associate. And then the next day you realize, oh, that free association from the day before has opened up new avenues. And it happens day after day after day. And so I've written almost every day for over 30 years. In that time, I've gotten deeper and deeper and deeper into my own unconscious. And so my stories have changed, have grown, have gotten deeper in many ways. And so me writing today is different than me writing yesterday. And me writing tomorrow will be different than me writing today. If you make the commitment to write every day, every day, every day, every day, as the children say, then you will write differently today than you will tomorrow. And the day after tomorrow, you will write differently than you write tomorrow. It changes day to day to day. You will get deeper and deeper, better and better. And it'll be great for your writing, but it'll also be great for you as a person, being able to understand this incredibly complex world that we live in. I've shared with you my process, and I hope that you can find your own within the structure that I presented. But if you can't, if you have to work outside of that, if you wake up one day and said, oh, I feel a novel coming on, and you have to sit down for the next week and write it, that's fine. I have complete respect for that. This is a masterclass, but inside this masterclass, we are equals.